I really just spent the last 10 minutes trying to find my phone, and it was like right next to me on the desk. Man, yeah. What's up? Welcome to the Whomst podcast. It's not a news heavy week. I mean, some news, a lot of murders, but that's depressing. Nobody want to hear that. Um, nothing to react to. It's the same old stuff, wars and all that nonsense. So yeah, and it's just me talking to y'all. This might be a really short episode. I've been kind of mentally blocked this last week, so even if I did have some like news podcasts on or something like that, I wasn't really paying attention. I made a personal decision this week, and really I won't really see the outcome for like a few months. So I'll update on y'all. And because of that decision, I may or may not record every week because I have to deal with that every week up until then. I'll try to like maybe pop in. It don't really matter. I'm just letting y'all know. It most likely won't happen. Y'all used to this at this point. It's like this is gonna be like the sixth break at this point. But this week I had an interview. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but I did an interview for Coors or Miller Coors, the company. Uh, and I really wanted to get that, right, and because it was like the highest I've ever seen get paid, right, for me. So I did the interview. Well, no, I did the application, and I got the call like immediately, and I missed it because I know I talked about this before. It's a weird trend where when I need a job, nobody wants to call me. Everybody wants to call me like 3, 4, 5 weeks later. Like, oh, hey, you looking for like 90 more, sir? Like, I'm homeless. I don't even know how I got this phone on. It's like, but then what I've noticed is when I don't necessarily need it, they call me immediately or the day of when I'm not really expecting it. I'm so used to waiting a week that I don't really use my phone in the first place. So it's like well, I use it all the time, but I'm not for the phone part. And even my phone is not used to it. So I didn't even get the notification for 2 days. 2 days after they called me, right? They left a voicemail and everything. So I called them like 5 times and it went straight to voicemail. I'm like, fuck. I missed out. I missed out on it and it was whatever. But they called me on it's Wednesday right now. They called me on Monday, and they set up an interview, a real on the phone interview. So that was the first red flag. But I was like, whatever, big pay, big money, work 2 jobs, right? Save up some money, especially now with this decision I had made. Um, the second red flag was the lady. She gave me the wrong time. So it was supposed to be yesterday at 10:20. That's what she saw me. Even the email that sent it out and everything, right? So I get up around like 9:45. I start making me some breakfast, and 10:20 come around. Then 10:30, 10:40. Then around 11:10, she calls me. She was like, "Oh, I put the wrong time. I put the wrong time. It's actually gonna be 12:20, so noon 20, right?" I'm like, all right, cool. I do that. I wait another hour. I'm dead tired at this point because I've been up all night too. Because that's how I've been. I've been writing. I was writing all the way up until like 3 or 4 o'clock that morning. I mean, then I was like, okay, 4 or 5 hours of sleep be fine, and do this interview on the phone, and then I just go right back to sleep like normal, right? Up for another 2 or 3 hours. Uh, 12:30 comes around. They still late, right? So I was gonna joke around and be like, "Hey," they was like, "Oh, sorry for being late." I was like, "Hey, if you can change temp to permanent, I'd be fine, right?" Because there's this company, they're hiring people because people went on strike, so they need people. So they're pushing up the dollar amount, which is kind of ironic. Instead of just paying the people that was there already, they willing to pay more for the people for some new people who don't know shit about the job. But whatever. Who am I? I'm just a gear. I'm not a suit. Um, so I was gonna joke about, hey, yeah, make it permanent, whatever. I'll stay because I'm a hard worker. I'm a fast learner. It's whatever, right? The interview comes around, and why this motherfucker? He was like grilling the shit out of me, asking me all these questions, like they don't need people. Like, it was like, he's like, okay, how many years you been in the warehouse or whatever, working warehouse jobs? I'm like, I've been doing it off and on for about 10 years or whatever, right? You'll think that'll be enough. I've done a little bit of everything. I'm the type of worker. I just work. I'm here. I know how to use everything, but don't quiz me on any of this shit. I don't know the names of it. I don't know the technical names. I don't know the what's the word, abbreviations and all this stuff. All these keywords that people like to play around, try to pretend they smart and shit like that. Like I don't know any of it. Like I don't know. I don't know these things so little. I don't even have a good example. Like I just don't know. I know how to use the scanners. I don't know the fucking name of them, but that's what he was asking. Like, what type of scanners did you use? I'm like, I just told him straight up, I don't know. And I don't think I'm gonna get the job. Because of how I was answering the question. I didn't realize how bad I was at interviews. Because looking back, most of the jobs that I've gotten didn't necessarily need an interview. Like Amazon, they hire anybody as long as you breathing and you didn't murder somebody recently, and you pass a drug test and you fine, you get the job. But most of the jobs, including Walmart, Sam's Club, once I say, yeah, I worked there before, they kind of throw you in. So I didn't realize how bad I was at actual interviews. I take that back. The only other interviews I've ever done was like doing cable, and they'll ask me the typical shit like, "Oh, tell me a time when you went beyond or over and beyond or whatever," and I'll tell the same stories like, "Oh, hey, a customer, I gave him my personal number. It's like, hey, you need help with something tiny, just call me up and I'll roll by or talk you through it or whatever, something like that." Now, that'll usually help me get the job, but this one, he was like, "Oh, name the scanner." The type of scanner and shit like that. I don't know. It's an Android phone. I just use it. They all roughly the same, man. It's like just every company might be a slight difference. Either way, you're gonna have to teach me anyway. You don't have to show me anyway. So it's like, what's the point of all this? Fucking grilling me over it. Like, even I was telling them, okay, I worked warehouses for like 10 years and forklift experience. He was like, what type of forklifts? I'm like, the stand-ups, but I don't know the name of the companies of the forklifts and like or anything like that. So he just writing stuff down. You know how like in movies, the therapist just, okay, and then he'll be quiet for like 30 seconds while you write up some shit. I don't think I'm gonna get it. I really don't think I'm gonna get this job. I would be mad, but I already got one. But it would be nice to have this one as well for a couple of weeks since it's temporary. And then I'm not gonna get it. I know because like I said, they only got this position open because most of their people is on strike, right? So all of us who get hired are gonna get fired the moment the strike is over. It will either be like a week or a month, whatever, whenever. They said it in the first words. The moment they called me, they was like, this is temporary. Like this is not a permanent position. And they're like, yeah, I know. So them pushing it for like making this like a multi-day process, like a week or so, just shows that I'm not finna get it. It's like, because by the time they hire me, the strike will be over and I'll lose my job immediately. It's so annoying, but I'm not worried about it. Oh, okay. I know what I will talk about. I wanted to keep it a surprise, and I guess this little break I'm finna take is actually perfect time to finish it. Right? I'm reading erotica. I always avoided it because it's just cringy. book covers, and obviously they not really made for like straight men or whatever. But I mean, they sell like hotcakes. Like even me writing Wyatt, right? Before I just kind of gave up and just chose to just okay, I'm just gonna sell it as an ebook. I did have it on Kindle Villa, and Kindle Villa is and kind of like Wattpad, which you post one chapter at a time. People read it like that. That's the whole story. That's how you do it, right? And science fiction, fantasy, stuff like that. They don't go anywhere unless it has romance in it. Why? Because the demographic is usually mostly women and I guess girls as well, like younger adults. But you mostly just the female gender. That's who is usually for or whatever, right? That's the point. So romance and any genre, just as long as it got romance or some type of sales like crazy. So I always like always stayed away from it because it seemed like too easy of a thing. Well, not too easy to write about, but like it seemed like the easy route if you wanted to become an author. Like go there's like if you drew, you would draw big titty anime girls and then sell that. That's just the easy route. If you knew how to draw, easy money. That's what I'm saying. So I never read these either because I just didn't see the appeal. Lovey dovey bullshit was never my thing, right? But I'm gonna give it a shot. You know, got just like bad rappers. Like everyone has one good song. So I'm gonna give it a shot. Right now I am reading. Let me see. Pause it. It's called Subtly My Silky, if I'm saying that correctly, by CC Wood. I got it because it was on sale for 99 cents, and it was the least cringy cover. It's just a handsome white guy staring into your eyes. That's all it is. Because you know usually it's like cowboy. You got no shirt. You got a fucking 12 pack. You know, that's what it usually is. So I always stay away from it because if somebody catch me reading that, at least I can get away with this. It's also an ebook, so people won't know that I'm reading it in the first place. It's basically so far what I know, it's typical love story. It's a light fantasy, if I understand that correctly, which is like it's like real world, and it has like fantasy stuff, like like talking animals and all this stuff like that. But it's not a big deal. People don't really make a big deal about it, and it's like set in the real world. Like, oh, they're in Detroit. This walrus person and whatever. You get the point. I think Wyatt is going to be light fantasy because people got powers, but it's not that big of a deal. It's not super big of a. It's just like normal life, basically. Uh, I guess if you don't know, the regular fantasy will be like made up lands and stuff you can't pronounce, stuff like that. Made up languages. That's fantasy. It's a lot of like subgenres, but anyway, this one is about a guy who owns a restaurant, and these like half human, half mystical beings. They live in a world. I'm not too deep in the book, so I'm not really sure if people like normal people know these people are like half human, half I forget a silky, which is what is it? I forget because I looked it up, and I think it was like half human, half seal. If I'm correct, if I'm whatever, it doesn't make sense because it doesn't. All right, it just doesn't. Uh, but anyway, this handsome guy who's also half seal, but I guess he just looks like a human, and that's a secret or whatever. These people have a hard time dating, so they go to these mystical matching people. So he got matched with a few people. He's not having any luck. He doesn't like any of them. They all look nice according to the book, whatever they are, but he just can't click. And this last one, I think she was half human, half will-o-wisp, whatever the fuck that is. I think that's like a fairy or something. I don't know. Again, I'm kind of just burning through it, so I feel like I'm missing out on some stuff. But anyway, they don't click because she don't cook, she don't clean, she don't work, and he got a business stuff like that. He's like, get your bum ass out my face, and they argue in the. I'm exaggerating, but they argue at the date about her not having a job and having no ambition or whatever. So that's it. And he's about to he's finna go on break on his little he's finna go on vacation, so he's not gonna be able to use the service. So he calls the lady up and she does this thing, right? Now I'm doing a review. I may end up talking about this again. I'm sorry. But she does this sell pitch thing that I fucking hate. And I almost put the book down for that day when reading it, because he called her up. You know how you call up customer service? He's like, hey, and you explain the situation. Like, I just want to pause it right now. Is that possible? And they're like, yeah. You're like, yeah, I just want to pause it because blah, 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 whatever. And they do go into the whole spill of like trying to keep you paying even though you're not going to use it and stuff like that. It's like, hey, motherfucker, did you not hear what I said? I'm not finna use the service. I don't want to get rid of it. I'm not going to be here using it. So is there a way? You just say that we can, so let's just do that. All right? Stop trying to sell me on some bullshit. So he's calling up the lady. I guess she's the owner of this matchmaking company or whatever. And he's like, hey, I'm finna go on work business out of town for like 2 weeks. I want to just pause. I would love to keep using it. I would be wasting my money. Just can we pause it until I come back and we'll get back? And she's like, well, I see you have had no luck. You're not trying hard enough. Motherfucker, did you just hear me? I'll try again when I get back. It's like she's trying to. She basically talks him into just keeping it. No, she did pause it, but it was like fucking 10 pages of them going back and forth, pissing him off too. So I feel like I'm not alone in this. Pissing him off, talking about like, because he was like, I am trying. I just none of these hoes are what I like. All right. But she has charisma 10, and she gives him some word of advice, which I forget because I read it like a week ago. She was like, I said something to him, and he was like, all right, whatever. But they come to the conclusion. Like I said, they dance around it, but they still end up pausing the subscription. And he comes back from right before he leaves. He talks to his manager of the restaurant that he owns, and he was like, hey, the girl that they used to work, one of the waitresses that worked damn near every day, apparently, which sounds fun. I guess she quit or whatever. She left, and they need to hire somebody else. But he's about to leave. He was like, hey, I trust you. Please hire somebody. And who they hire? Oh, the girl he had a bad date with. He comes back. He's like, because he trusts the manager, because she's a real hard worker. He was like, I'll fucking pay you an extra $5,000 if you could find a good assistant manager, good waitress, and we'll turn it to an assistant manager. And she finds, not on purpose, but like by accident, the girl that he had a bad date with. Also, apparently he has an apartment on top of the restaurant. What is this? What is this fucking? What is this, New York, where it's like the gas station at the bottom and the house is on the top, whatever. What is this? Whatever. That don't sound like a fancy restaurant. And I live here too. It was like you can hear him taking a shit while you eating your steak. Anyway. So not only did she hired the girl, and she's a great worker. She actually passionate about the job, whatever. But she also was, I guess, she got kicked out of her other place. So the manager said, hey, it's a free room up. No, well, not free, but it's a room up there. You can move into that as well, and we'll just take the rent out of your paychecks or whatever. So not only, so when the big reveal comes out, oh, this the girl, he was like, oh, fuck. Like, I didn't exaggerate. He was like, oh, shit. When he finds out, oh, this the girl this the airhead jobless motherfucker working under me, and but he trusts his manager enough. She also talks a lot of shit, which in the book she was like, I work so hard I can talk shit to my boss, which what the fuck ever. Like that's not how that shit works. Yeah, you could kind of get away because she be talking mad shit to this dude. It's like she runs him or something like that. I think it's probably a kink for him. He probably like an aggressive woman, but that whatever. That's beside the point. He trusts her so much, the manager, on her decision. He's like, okay, I'll give her because she's supposed to be like a 30-day probation while he was away, and 30 days are coming up. So he's like, okay, while I'm here now, I wanna see you work, and she does a really good job or whatever, and calls her into the office, and he's like, hey, okay. Of course, there's a lot of tension. There was like, oh, at one time we were going about to fuck or whatever, but now I'm your boss or whatever. But he as of this right, I swear I stopped there right now. He kept her, and he kind of like getting over the fact that she was this airhead, but now she proven her way, and that's it. That's all I know as of now. Now I'm thinking about it, it's probably not even erotica. It probably get really hard. It probably get really steamy later, but so far it doesn't seem like that. It seemed like just a regular fantasy romance or whatever. But my guess for this book would be, since it's supposed to be a dramatic, probably a love triangle thing. She probably finds what my guess is. She finds a boyfriend or something, and he doesn't like that, and he slowly intervenes, making the situation worse because apparently, I forgot this line. The manager told, I don't know. I'm terrible with names too. The girl that he hired, the bad date girl, she told her, hey, don't even though y'all already went on a date, don't do it anyway, because he's done this with every waitress, which sounds like a case. Sounds like a case. I don't think you should be doing that, sir. Seal person. I don't think that's a good idea that you should be dating your waitresses and then firing them. This man's gonna get. I changed my mind. He's gonna try to date her, and then she's gonna slap a sexual harassment clause on him, and he's gonna go to jail. Restaurant gets either taken over by the manager lady or it closed down, and everybody's homeless now. End of story. That's my guess. That's my. I'm low key kind of like mad at myself for doing this. I really talked for like fucking 15 minutes over this book, and I'm only like, according to Apple Books, I'm only 15% done with the book, and I talked about it this long, really ruining the whole review when I actually do finish it. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, since we're talking about books, right? Just real quick, I don't know if I talked about it in detail, but I finished. Remember Regina Watts, the one I had as a guest a few months ago? I finally finished that book. I told her, Texas Cruel. I finally finished it after a fucking year because reading physical books sucks. What I've learned reading ebooks, for some reason I have a weird relationship. I want the physical book, but for some reason my ADHD or something, I just cannot sit and read a physical book. So I have to read the ebook. And for a while it was working, but then it stopped. Why? Because of Kindle. I don't know if I could change the settings or something like that, but I can change the settings on Apple Books to make the words like hella big, like I'm a 98-year-old blind person, like hella big. And I get through I'm starting to burn through these books, like burning through chapters hella fast, and actually enjoying what I read because of like the size of the words. I don't know what that says about me. I really don't. I swear, next year around the same time, I'm gonna be like, hey man, something about picture books. It's way better, way better than word books. All these words, why not? What's up with all these words when you can use pictures? I would enjoy audiobooks more as well, but that medium is so expensive, man. I don't think Amazon realized how much money they can make if they make the audiobooks, not the audiobooks, but like the service way cheaper, because $15 is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Because I feel like because you still have the option, you can just buy an audiobook. That's fine. But like for $15 for a service and you only get one audiobook, it's not really, at least me now that I have like a job where I can just listen to them all day. So burning through these audiobooks kind of like it's not really worth the $15. Uh what was my point? Oh, yeah. If they make Audible, if they made Audible like $5, $5 a month, or even 10, but make it like $5 a month, right? That'll be perfect because it's so low enough to where you just forget about it. And then most of the time, most people don't listen to audiobooks all the time because, honestly, it's boring. It's it's a little boring unless you like invested in a particular book, like when I was listening to Janae McCarty's "I'm Glad My Mom's Dead" book. That was really enjoyable. That was 6 hours. That was just one shift at work. That was really enjoyable though. That's enjoyable to the point where I'll go listen to it again. But most of these books, like some of these fantasy books I tell you about, some of these books are like 24 hours long. And this is not really a jab towards like the author or anything like that, but sometimes I feel like these motherfuckers be dragging they ass, boy. Sometimes it's the voice actor, the narrator who's reading it. Sometimes they're terrible. Some of them have really nasally voices. I'm the one to talk. But like for example, I'm going on a tangent. Jesus, I just started something called Deadland, and it's a multi-book series that came in like a bundle. I think it's like 3 or 4 books all in one audiobook, and it's 27. Let me double check before I say anything. Yeah, the complete Deadland saga. I think I listened to like 2 or 3 hours already, so it's roughly 28, 29 hours long. And I got it, like I said, it was on, think, I don't remember. I think I used a credit for this one. I'm not sure. I forget. But I downloaded and I've had it in my damn phone for like 6 months to a year now, because 26 hours is a long time. And I think the first time I tried to listen to it, the narrator, no offense to her, is just like, I don't know. It's just she was like sounded like too preppy for like a book about like the apocalypse. She was just like, hey, she seemed too happy. I don't know how to explain it. But like on top of like the first chapter where it was kind of boring. So it's like, I stopped and I just started it up again like 3 or 4 days ago at work, because I had nothing else. I didn't have nothing else to listen to. I got tired of listening to the news. I got tired of listening to music. So I was like, let me just pick something. And eventually it started getting good, started getting better, right? Plus I feel like I need to do research for Wyatt, even though it's not a zombie apocalypse story. I guess I could still take like I could still study some type of like apocalyptic story, and I felt like I need to do this. So in a way, I'm listening to this as homework, and hopefully I don't accidentally copy and paste this into my brain and steal somebody it's still some of their ideas. Because I catch myself sometimes. I'm like, damn, that's a good line. I should write that down. I was like, don't write that shit down. Cause you're gonna fucking take it. Don't do that shit. That's why I don't listen. Back when I was doing stand up, I didn't really listen to a lot of stand up. I didn't listen to a lot of specials on Netflix or anything like that because I'm like, damn, that's or I didn't want to accidentally take people's jokes, just not thinking about it like 3 years later and was like, oh, that's a good idea, and then I fucking forgot that I took it from like Dave Attell or something like that. I didn't want to do that, nor did I want to like face the very high possibility that a comic has an idea very similar to mine. And I'm not finna tell somebody who got a Netflix special and not just sitting on my couch. I ain't gonna say, oh, they stole my joke, but I can't help it. I will. But anyway, whatever. I'm fucking rambling. I ain't going nowhere. This is way longer than I expected. Yeah, I'll see y'all next week or not. Like I just said, it's a possibility I won't do it because of this decision I made. Like I said, once it get cleared up, I'll let y'all know what's happening. But I appreciate y'all for listening. Thanks for listening to my rambles. Shit. If it's like this again, just me rambling, I might just do this then. But anyway, no promises. Love y'all. Thank y'all. Send some voicemails in for the love of God. 725-999-2704. That doesn't change. All right. See ya.